Good evening and welcome to Wednesday night's calendar.
Hello, thank you for joining us. Here are tonight's main stories.
An amazing girl who brought warmth to the room tributes to Ellie Haig, who was killed in a crash in Tadcaster.
The growing pressures on the NHS as one of our hospital's A&Es has already been running at double capacity. Plus,
a woman from Doncaster who's paying £150 a week for her energy bills pleads for better insulation. And
the ghosts of Christmas past, present and future take to the tracks.
Find out why I'm in an engine shed in Oxenhope with Bob Cratchit, Tiny Tim and 6 Scrooges.
Good evening. First tonight, there have been heartfelt tributes, a sense of shock and, according to the local MP, some anger following the death of a 16-year-old girl in a crash in Tadcaster.
Eleanor Haig, known as Ellie, died when the school minibus she was in collision with a car at a crossroads near Tadcaster Grammar School on Monday.
Ellie, a talented dancer, has been described as hard-working and amazing. But even as police investigate exactly what happened this week, her MP says that people are demanding answers as to why better road safety measures weren't already in place at a junction where there have been accidents in the past. John Hill is at the scene, and John, really a sense of sorrow there.
Sorrow and absolute heartbreak, really, Lara, because Ellie was so well known. She was a sixth former at Tadcaster Grammar School, which is just a few hundred yards in that direction. She worked part-time in a local eatery in Tadcaster, just a mile down the road there, and her hometown was Sherburn in Elmet, just a few miles down the road. Very well known, very popular, because, among other things, she was a talented dancer, and people will have seen those images perhaps today released showing her in her ballet costume. So her loss being felt keenly, and as people mourn her loss, there are, of course, so many unanswered questions.
From the flowers and messages left at the scene of the crash, which claimed her life, it's clear that Ellie Haig was much loved and will be dearly missed. A note from all at Tadcaster Grammar School, where she was a sixth former, describes her as amazing, someone who brought warmth to a room, a lovely, bubbly girl. Ellie was a keen and talented dancer, this picture one of 2 released by her family. Other tributes describe her as polite, hard-working and inspiration. Youth worker Kirsty has spent all day at the school offering support to youngsters struggling with their loss.
Fair to say it's a real mix of emotions. I think there's huge sadness, but there's so many things in between. Why? What's happened? How do we feel about this? It's just incredibly sad and just very intense.
Today, Ellie's dance school posted on social media describing her as an amazing dancer and person. They described her as a gorgeous girl who was always polite. The road near to Tadcaster Grammar School where the crash happened reopened today. It was lunchtime on Monday when the school minibus full of A-level students collided with a Hyundai i10. Ellie was killed, another girl seriously injured. The driver of the car, a 40-year-old woman from Leeds, has been arrested on suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving and causing serious injury by dangerous driving. She's been released on bail. Police investigators used drones today to map the crash scene, but even as they go about their work, there are questions about whether warning signs at this junction were adequate. There have been crashes here before. A motorcyclist died here 10 years ago. The local MP says there are 2 overriding reactions among residents.
One of utter shock, but I think one also of a bit of anger that this junction is always being highlighted. I mean, there's been another crash there in the last 12 months, similar circumstances. Luckily, no one particularly injured, as I understand it, but I think there's also been an accident where somebody was injured, but obviously not a tragedy like this. And so I think there's a lot of people contacting me saying about when are North Yorkshire going to do something about this? When are the Highways Department going to take action?
North Yorkshire Council said it was devastated by the loss of a young life, but wouldn't comment on the circumstances of the crash while police inquiries continue. After being closed yesterday, Tadcaster Grammar School reopened today. A chance for shocked and bereaved schoolmates of Ellie Haig to come together and seek solace in shared memories. But there'll be difficult days ahead. and searching questions over just what led to such a dreadful tragedy. John Hill, ITV News, Tadcaster.
Well, next tonight, bosses at Kingsmill Hospital in Sutton-in-Ashfield have warned of long waits in A&E and was yesterday running at almost double capacity.
Pressures on the NHS are always ramped up as winter approaches, but the hospital is urging patients to turn up only in an emergency. Otherwise, you might have to wait 12 hours. Well, earlier today, I spoke to a consultant on the front line of treatment at Kingsmill and started by asking him what it's been like.
It's been a really busy week. Yesterday was our busiest day ever. We saw about 25% more patients than we normally see, so about 90 patients more than we normally would. It's incredibly busy, and mainly driven by flu and respiratory symptoms.
And what impact is that actually having on how your department operates?
It makes it very difficult. It makes it challenging for the staff. It makes it challenging to sort of keep people separate and make sure we isolate patients, etc. And it's really important, I think, from our point of view, that we want people to make the right choices and come where they need to come, absolutely. But if they don't need to come to an emergency department, then to use all the other options there are out there for them.
And is that part of the problem, that people don't really know what to do? They can't get an appointment at the GPs. There aren't as many pharmacies around as there used to be. People are just so frustrated, they don't know what to do, and A&E's the obvious place to go.
People turn up who could go somewhere else, and the big point from that there is use 111, use the 111 website, access your pharmacies. I think what flu is a big thing at the moment. Actually, if you're young and otherwise healthy, or even a bit older with no other health problems, then there is no treatment for flu. So coming to an emergency department with flu symptoms, it's paracetamol and keep well hydrated, which is really good advice for everybody. But actually, really simple things like that are important. And actually, you save yourself some time by not attending an emergency department with flu symptoms if you don't need to.
Yeah, because it's easy, isn't it, to sit there and think, actually, I'm not very well, but I really can't face spending 12 hours sat in A&E, so I'm just not going to bother going.
No. If you have a genuine emergency, you absolutely should be calling 999 or making your own way to see us. It's really important. That's what we're here for.
Ben, well, we wish you well with all your work, and thanks for all you do. Thank you very much for joining us on Calendar. Yes, some good advice there from Dr. Ben Owens speaking to me earlier. Well, the challenges at Kingsmill come as doctors prepare to go on strike just before Christmas.
Our political correspondent Fred Dimbleby is in Westminster. Good evening, Fred. The Health Secretary has been speaking about pressures on the NHS today. What's he had to say?
Yeah, well, I think that interview sums up very clearly just how stark things are on the front line. The Health Secretary recognises that. He recognises the pressure on the government. Earlier today, he said that right now the NHS is experiencing levels of pressure on emergency services that it only normally sees on New Year's Eve, which is the busiest time of the year. But he says he is committed to fixing that issue.
I don't want anyone to think that we're either complacent or defensive. What we're seeing across the NHS, whether in emergency services or whether it's waiting times or people struggling to access a GP or a dentist, there is still so much to do to turn the NHS around from the enormous crisis it was in to where we want it to be.
So, Fred, a distinct change of topic now, but less than 2 miles away from the hospital, a school has apologised after a display seemed to link Ashfield's Reform MP Lee Anderson and Nigel Farage to fascists and the Nazis. What's going on?
Yeah, it's a strange story, isn't it? It focuses on Quarrydale Academy, which is in Lee Anderson's constituency. Its display appeared there looking at the political spectrum from the extreme left to the extreme right. And on the extreme right side was a picture of Lee Anderson. He is the man that you can see with his fists raised here. There's also a picture of Nigel Farage, the Reform Party leader, near the words fascism and Nazi Party. And there were also pictures near them of people like Oswald Mosley, the founder of the British Union of Fascists, and Italian fascist leader Benito Mussolini. Now, I spoke to Lee Anderson earlier today, and it's fair to say he is pretty unimpressed by what he sees as those comparisons.
Putting up a political display for Year 9 students and putting me at the side of people like Oswald Mosley, Mussolini, and then the labels, far-right parties, Nazis, and fascism. That's not an honest mistake. That's a deliberate attempt to try and influence our young people in which way to vote in just a few years' time.
Now, the school has responded tonight. They say they're aware of the images. The display, they say, was intended to prompt discussion about how political ideologies are classified in historical contexts. However, they add they recognise the placement of certain contemporary political figures could be considered inappropriate or easily misinterpreted. Quarrydale Academy say they apologise for any concerns, offence and distress this situation may have caused. That display has now been removed.
Fred Dimbleby, thank you very much. Live in Westminster.
A woman in Doncaster says she's pleading for improvements to her home after spending her life savings and much of her pension just to cover heating costs.
Diane Ashmore lives in Chevitt's house. It's a block of flats run by the management company St Ledger Homes. Now, she says she's been asking them to improve the insulation in her flat after last winter's heating bill ran to £3,500.
Well, the company says it's working with residents to deal with their concerns, but Diane says she fears for the winter ahead. Michael Billington reports.
As temperatures outside take a dip, Diane's having to dip further into her pension just to stay warm.
I get £460 a fortnight, and it's costing me £300 at least to heat this property. I might as well just open the window and throw my money out at window, because that's where it's going.
She says she's constantly topping up the heating in her flat in Doncaster because it's so poorly insulated, and that she's been asking management company St Ledger Homes to fix it for the last 7 years.
You think you smoke, because steam's coming off your breath. That's how cold it can get at night. I put my clothes on. I don't think they are damp. I think it's just cold, but they feel damp when I'm putting my clothes on in the morning.
So what do you do to stay warm?
I go to bed. I go into bed, turn my television off, get into bed, put my television on in the bedroom, dressing gown, pyjamas, my throws and my quilt. I'm like that.
She claims that last winter, between December and March, her heating costs hit £3,500.
Over 2 days here, you've spent £140.
£140.
Where do you get the money from for that?
Pension. I saved all my life from my funeral and everything. Gone. Up in smoke.
And she's not alone. Her neighbours say they're making sacrifices to avoid eye-wateringly high energy bills.
No, don't have any more radiators on than that one, you know. And that just, it's the longest room. It just takes the chill off then.
We can't have it on. We've got mostly late at night, round about 7 o'clock, something like that. You put your heating, just one radiator, shut the doors and just try and keep one room warm.
St Ledger Homes say they are talking to residents about the problem, adding we've recently carried out surveys at Chevitt House and we're reviewing the findings to determine what work may be recommended. But Diane and her neighbours say anything that can be done will likely be too late for them to weather the coldest of conditions that this winter has to throw at them. Michael Billington, ITV News in Doncaster.
Well, you're watching Calendar, of course, and still to come before 6:30.
I'm live at Ellen Road, where tonight Leeds United take on Chelsea, hoping to pick up a much-needed 3 points in the Premier League.
And despite some mist and fog this morning, it's been a mostly dry day. We have got a change on the way, but it's not as cold as it was this time 15 years ago. I asked for your photos and your memories, and you delivered, and I'll deliver them a little later on.
Next tonight, job applicants from disadvantaged and ethnic minority backgrounds are significantly less likely to be recruited into graduate roles, and that's despite having the same qualifications as their peers.
Well, that's according to a recent study that exposes persistent bias in hiring, and now experts are calling for recruitment processes to be more closely monitored. Amrit Birdie reports.
For thousands of graduates entering the job market every year, the first hurdle should be their CV, not the colour of their skin or where they're from. But that isn't the reality for many young people attending this networking event aimed at young black professionals.
I started it about 9 years ago now, after my own journey of basically going into the workplace and realising that nobody looked like me. Despite having kind of A stars, I had an economics degree at Ross Group University, and I just realised that the game is a bit different than I expected.
In fact, a recent study by University College London has highlighted the harsh reality facing many graduates. The study compared applications from those with identical skills and qualifications. It found graduates from low socioeconomic backgrounds were 32% less likely to receive a job offer compared to those from wealthier backgrounds. Black graduates were 45% less likely to receive an offer than white applicants, and that figure is 29% for applicants with Asian heritage.
When I joined my first graduate role, the statistics speak for themselves. It tells a story. I was one of the only black women within the office for the longest time.
When I went to university, I realised I entered a new world because you meet people from the other side of the coin, and you quickly realise that no matter how well you do in exams, you're probably not going to match what their life looks like post-university.
Fatima Khan Shah is the chair of the Race Equality Partnership for Sheffield and says these figures are in fact part of a wider issue.
It isn't just about the application process, it's about enabling the candidates in the interview process to show their best selves. But we've also got to recognise the people on the interview panels need to look beyond some of their own biases as well. That means considering people from low socioeconomic backgrounds may not have the same experiences or advantages as their counterparts.
Barrister Nabila Malik has spent her career fighting for workplace equality, and she says it's more important than ever that recruitment processes are truly unbiased.
If your company doesn't have a certain minority group, why would you not want to bring in a policy to recruit that person from that particular background if that person is equally as good?
In a time where many employers say they're committed to improving diversity, it seems there is still a way to go until everyone is given a fair chance. Amrit Birdie, ITV News.
OK, well, it's time for some sport now and a big night down at Elland Road.
Powering local sport in the community. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Leeds United take on Chelsea in the Premier League this evening with the Whites in desperate need of 3 valuable points.
Yes, our sports correspondent Chris Dawkes is live down at Elland Road for us tonight. And Chris, good evening to you. It's not been a great few weeks for Leeds, has it?
No, Ian, yeah, good evening to you too. You know, it's around this time of year you start hearing the song "'Tis the Season to be Jolly," don't you? But there's not been much reason for Leeds United fans to be jolly so far this season. In fact, they've lost 6 of their last 7 matches, a run of form that has seen Leeds slip into the Premier League relegation zone with a points total of 11 from their 13 games played. But, you know, the fans will have taken some heart from their second-half comeback at Manchester City on Saturday, where they fought back from 2-0 down to bring the scores level before heartbreakingly losing in injury time there. And they'll need every ounce of that comeback fight and determination if they're to get anything from tonight's game against the Chelsea team, currently 3rd in the Premier League table.
We expect one of the toughest opponents that you can have, but especially at Elland Road, we never play with fear. We always play with confidence. We play with respect, yes, but we know that if we have our best possible day and we make out of this game a tight game, then we have also the chance to win points. And this is what we want. We want not just to deliver good performance, especially in the second half against City, like in major periods in the last home game. We also want to win as many points as possible, and this is what we play for.
Well, we heard from Leeds manager Daniel Farke there, Chris, and by all accounts, he's under a little bit of pressure to keep his job.
Yeah, that's right, Lara. Yeah, a report in one of the national broadsheets released early this week suggested that Farke would be sacked should Leeds lose here tonight against Chelsea and then again here against Liverpool on Saturday. Now, the report also suggested that the club's owners, the 49ers Enterprises, if they were to get rid of Farke, would want to bring in a new man in time to have his input on transfers ahead of the opening of the transfer window in January. Well, earlier on today, I spoke to the former Leeds United defender John Newsom and asked him how he feels that Farke has done so far this season.
I mean, they started great. You know, that was the thing. I think they've started great and they just seem to have petered off a little bit, and that's where the pressure comes. Obviously, you go to Nottingham Forest, you go to Burnley, you go in those games and you say to yourself, we can't get beat today. And they got beat quite easily, I think. And I think that's what makes the alarm bells start ringing. And off the back of that, then you've got, like I say, the week that we're in the middle of. You know, 3 massive teams, big names. Can you do anything? And the pressure starts mounting. But that's the life of a Premier League manager, isn't it? You know you're under pressure. You know you've got to deliver. And if you don't, people are going to start asking questions.
Fair point there. Well, so a big night down there for the team and the manager by the sound of it, Chris. Away from Leeds, though, there were some other games played by some of our region's teams last night, weren't there?
There were, Ian, yeah, and it was the first round of knockout fixtures in the EFL Trophy, and it was a night of spectacular strikes as well. 39-year-old Billy Sharp won't have scored too many better than this one in Doncaster's 5-1 win over Chesterfield. Likewise, Jack Muldoon, he's 36, yet still capable of producing stunning finishes like this one in Harrogate's 4-2 victory over Blackpool. But goal of the night belonged to Rotherham's Josh Benson. This, the pick of his 3 goals that helped Rotherham thrash Salford 7-2. Elsewhere, Barnsley and Bradford both lost, whereas Huddersfield beat Lincoln 2-0. Plenty of incredible goals scored around the region last night. And you know what? I think Leeds would take any sort of goal here tonight, even one off a player's backside, should it bring them the 3 points against Chelsea here at Ellen Road.
OK, Chris, thank you very much indeed. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, time for a quick update for you on Kevin Sinfield's 7-day ultramarathon challenge. Now, today he was in Swansea and tomorrow he'll roll into Sheffield for day 4. The grand finale is on Sunday when he returns to Leeds. So far, he has raised nearly £570,000 for MND charities, and of course it's all in memory of his former Leeds Rhinos teammate Rob Burrow. So we wish him all the luck in the world, don't we?
We certainly do. He's doing a great job as always. Now then, it's only a few weeks ago, it certainly seems like that, when everything was dry, the grass was really hard, the soil was hard.
Yeah.
But now we've got all this rain, Keza. Where's it coming from?
And more of it, yeah, particularly for anyone planning stuff over the weekend. It's so tricky. This was this morning, a lot of low cloud around first thing, quite a chilly start. We've managed an almost dry day today, but I want to show you the bigger picture. There's an area of high pressure just to the east of Europe and pretty much over Russia, and it's staying there. It's not really moving anywhere. And what that means for us is, with a very strong jet stream coming in from the Atlantic, means we've basically got a conveyor belt of low pressure systems, and the UK is acting pretty much as a car park, so on and off all the way through into Sunday, like we just mentioned. Hopefully for that event on Sunday, the rain pushing through during the morning and easing off into the afternoon. So it's all go, basically one system after another, and like today we get the drier, clearer spells in between. Now, I have got some photos for you. I did mention last night that this time 15 years ago we had the start of a very long and cold and wintry winter of 2010 and 2011. This was the first. You can hardly see the garden. This was the third. Plenty of blue sky, but obviously evidence of lots of snow. Sandy said she had to go on her old laptop, of course, to get a gorgeous picture of Crumble on the 4th, and it went all the way to the 7th and 8th where we had some snow cover, and again towards the end of the month, which gave us our widespread Christmas, if you like, of 2010. Yeah, the most widespread Christmas we've ever had.
Yeah, incredibly.
Not this year, though.
It's not going to happen this year.
I don't think so.
No chance whatsoever.
No, I don't think so.
OK, thanks.
OK, well, we'll see. We will see. Well, snow or no snow, it's sure to be a magical Christmas on the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway.
Scrooge and Cratchit and Co. Has it a kind of ring to it, don't you think?
Yes, it's all aboard for a Christmas show with a difference tonight. Dress rehearsals are taking place for the old traditional tale, A Christmas Carol. It's not in a village hall or theatre, it's Scrooge on a steam train.
And all the action begins in an engine shed, part of the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway, as we said. Helen Steele is there for us this evening. And Helen, how are rehearsals going?
Well, don't know what a rehearsal is, Ian, but if I ever get one, I will let you know. But like you say, this is no ordinary show. We are in an engine shed in Oxenhope, and this is where the audience will come in. We're in a Victorian street here, and without further ado, I'm going to speak to Noel here, who's from the railway. Noel, this is an ambitious production, isn't it?
It's been huge, but we wanted to be innovative, we wanted to do something brand new and push the boundaries of what was possible in immersive theatre. So it's been a challenge to send Scrooge on this journey on a steam train, but the result is absolutely amazing.
Amazing, thank you. And like you say, no easy task. And now we have Emily, who's in charge of all this, aren't you? How on earth are you doing it? What happens?
So we join us in 20 years in the future from the version of Christmas Carol that we know, and it is Tiny Tim has taken over the company, and we are seeing actors wanting to play the role, and we see 6 Scrooges, and we are joined with them as they go onto the train, and that's how we get the 6 counts.
And it begins in here, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Before it
begin
goes
here.
onto the train. I believe we're in the middle of a
Yes,
scene
we are just
now.
in the middle.
You have your tickets, Ebenezer Scrooge.
Now, as we said, these are just a few of the actors. We can speak to a few more now. Like we said, we start in here and then we go onto a train, don't we? You are one of 6 Scrooges.
That's right.
How do you feel about doing this on a train that won't move until the actual night?
Well, yes, I know we haven't experienced the moving, but we'll rock and roll, so it will be fantastic, I'm sure.
And how does it work? You've got a few people, 6, so 1 in each carriage?
1 in each carriage, that's why we've got 6 Scrooges, so I am 1/6 Scrooge, so I'm a or a G. But yes, because there's 6 carriages, so 1 Scrooge per carriage.
Amazing, and you all take turns and the ghosts move around, correct?
That's right, yes.
Brilliant, thank you so much. And now we can speak to not so Tiny Tim, and that is just one of the things that aren't as conventional. Talk to me a little bit about your role, quickly.
Yeah, so Tiny Tim, basically it's set in 20 years in the future. So Tiny Tim's grown up and he's been handed the company, and we're having a Christmas party. So that's where we start off. It's the Christmas party and we're all getting ready for a celebration.
Amazing, thank you so much. And tickets are selling out fast. I believe we have added another day. And speaking of Christmas, I'm just going to leave you with the cast here.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas to you too. Thanks very much, everybody there in Oxenhope.
Absolutely, yeah. Do we need to see if there is any Christmas weather?
We do.
I don't think there is any snow. She's told us there isn't, but let's see what's happening tomorrow.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, we had a chilly start this morning. Temperatures were near to freezing in rural sheltered spots, allowing for some low cloud mist and fog to linger for much of the morning in places, but it was all change into the afternoon for most of us. A good deal of sunshine. Unfortunately, the dry weather we are saying goodbye to. A spell of rain from the west by the time we reach tomorrow morning, at least for the first half of the day. Windy at times, and then under the clearer skies, some frost and fog Friday morning, but again unsettled by the evening. So this was the low cloud first thing this morning, gently melting away throughout the day to give those sunnier spells, but it's this rain band waiting in the west, and it will wait in the west until we reach about dawn tomorrow. So ahead of that, there is a mixture of a chilly evening, dry clear spells mixed in with patchy cloud, and as the winds start to freshen and become a little stronger, pushing a little bit of misty low cloud to lower levels on top of the Pennines by the time we reach dawn tomorrow. So for most of the night, it's fairly dry and still quite chilly. That moon looking gorgeous in the sky at the moment, especially when coupled with starlings. It will be full. Of course, the cold moon tomorrow night. A big thank you to Bob for the shot. 8:05 and 3:48 are your sun times. So it goes downhill tomorrow, unfortunately. Cloudy skies, outbreaks of rain, heavy at times, accompanied by strong winds. The idea is that it all nudges north and eastwards quite erratically and eventually becomes drier and clearer and colder as we head through into tomorrow night. So a touch of frost, maybe some fog on Friday morning before it tends to cloud up, and then again another area of rain for the evening into the first part of Saturday.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Keza, just seeing that steam train. I saw one in York Station today when I caught the train to work.
Yeah,
is it the same one?
Les caught it in Ackworth, the Christmas White Rose, on its way to York.
There we go.
Yeah,
it's the same one, yeah.
Blimey, aren't you posh getting the train to work?
Getting posh.
Yeah, got a little line especially for you, just
Public
to get you
transport.
here. Very nice. That's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Bye.